All right, so now I'm going to start. Tim's Andrew versus Sanusier. Well done, everyone. So, Michael, do you want to share your screen or I will? 30.
I'm just trying to figure out how to get out of this. I'm just trying to. Sorry about that. I don't know why I got kicked off. But yeah, Alice, if you could run the slides, please. It never seems to work out well when I try and do it.
All right. Wait me 1 second.
One. Ha ha ha.
1 minute. Here. What? Oh, where is it? Okay, here.
Okay. So this evening's topic was Alice's idea, and I just want to say I think it's a brilliant idea because it's really going to give you some ideas of what to focus on to help you learn English a lot easier. And truth be told, everything that we're going to be talking about this evening is actually all very similar, or it's all the same, the exact same as the skills that you needed to learn to speak Vietnamese, which you all can do, obviously. So yeah, learning English is just basically going to be about learning different words and a little bit of different grammar. But we're going to cover more of these topics as we go through the slides. Next slide, please, Alice. So the 4 skills that you need to learn in order to learn any language. So the first one, everything okay?
Yes.
Cool. So the first, cool. So I just saw you waving at the camera. I was like, oh, she's trying to get my attention. So the first skill that we need to learn is reading. And reading is the visual method of taking in information. And what that means is we use our eyes to see the words that have been written on a page that we need to read, that we need to learn. The next skill that we need to learn is writing, and that is the visual method of giving out information. So when you want to tell somebody something, you would write it down on a piece of paper and give it to them to read. So an example of that would be when you go to school and your teacher gives you worksheets to fill out. Obviously, the answer to the questions that you give, you write them down. The third skill is listening. So that is the audible method of taking in information. So much like I'm currently doing the fourth skill that we're going to speak about, which is talking. You're all doing this third skill, which is listening. You're listening to the words that I say, and you're learning the information that I'm talking or that I'm speaking. And of course, the fourth method, which we've just mentioned, is speaking. That is the audible method of giving out information. So I'm giving you information by saying the words, and you are listening to the information by listening. And just a quick little vocabulary lesson there is that visual is just the fancy way of saying something that you can see with your eyes, and audible is just the fancy way of saying something that you need to listen to with your ears. So the two, I suppose, the four common themes among these four skills are that they are a combination of either giving information out to somebody or taking information in from somebody. And two of those methods we use our eyes to see, and the other two methods we use our ears to listen. So, and like I said before, all of these skills are going to help you learn any language that you want to learn. Next slide, please, Alice. Thank you. And so when you learn a new language, the three key areas that you want to focus on are vocabulary. And so you should definitely learn vocabulary first, because if you don't know any words in a language, it doesn't matter whether you are listening, reading, writing, or speaking. You can't communicate in that language if you don't know the words. So vocabulary is always the first thing that you'll want to start learning. The next skill is grammar. Now, grammar is the structure that the words take so that you can accurately convey information. And what that means is that in English, for example, it's basically the order of the words. So in English, for example, correct grammar would be, I would like to go to the park. But incorrect grammar would be, I would like park go to the. So grammar is just basically the order that you want to put the words in, and any other punctuation mark. So whether you need a full stop or a comma or any other symbols like that. And the third area that you want to learn and practice once you understand the other two areas very well is pronunciation. So the difference between vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation is that vocabulary and grammar apply to all four key skills that we just mentioned. So you're going to need to know your vocabulary and your grammar for reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Excuse me. Whereas pronunciation only really applies to listening and speaking. And pronunciation is how to correctly articulate sounds so other people can understand your words. So that can have such factors as making sure that when you read a word, for example, you go to say that word, that you pronounce the letters in them correctly. Such an example might be my own name. So my name is spelt Michael. So in some words, for example, the combination of the letter CH might make the ch sound. So archer, for example, is ARCHER. I would say that archer to say that correctly. But in my first name, Michael, the CH sound makes just a K sound. So learning how to correctly say those sounds is going to help you be understood a lot easier when you are when you're trying to communicate with people using by speaking words. Thank you, Alice. Next slide, please. All right, all the things that we can watch in English. Next slide, please. So Alice has fantastically put together some resources that you can use if you would like to. Sorry, I'm just looking at the picture of Masha and the bear there, having a laugh. So Alice has put together a great little list of resources that you can go and check out. They're all free, so you can just go and check them all out. So the first two that we've got here, you can access these on YouTube simply by searching up Masha and the Bear. Now, Masha and the Bear is a great little animated cartoon there. And it's about Masha, who is a little Russian girl. And her best friend is the bear, and they go on all sorts of fun adventures together. And it's a really fun little show. Now, make sure when you search this one up, you do search up Masha and the Bear in English, or else you're likely to get them speaking Russian to you. So make sure you search up English when you look that one up. And the other resource that we've got here is a YouTube channel called Engvid. So Engvid is just short for English videos. And these lessons are they're more formal. It's more for learning a specific skill in English. And they have videos on different topics like tips for more confidence when you speak English. That's more for like reminding you of things like don't be afraid to make mistakes, make sure you practice, talk to people, don't be shy. And yeah, that channel has some really fantastic information on it, and you'll learn lots and lots and lots about the English language if you go to Engvid. Thank you, Alice. Next slide, please. Now, this link below, check it out for more places to learn English. So this website just has a list of 50 different other websites on it that you can go to learn English for free. So none of these resources are going to cost you any money. They're just simply up on the internet waiting for you to go and check them out. So if everybody can maybe either take a screenshot or write down this website, do that now. We'll give you a couple of moments to write this down, because there are lots of very, very good resources on that website as well. Actually, that's a good idea. Alice is going to paste the website in the chat. So everybody make sure you copy that website down. And yeah, grab a copy of that link, and there are some very good resources there to help you with your English learning. All right, seeing as we've got that, let's go on to the next slide. So Alice has put together a little list of other websites to check out. And if you're after a website that focuses on pronunciation, which is again how to say things correctly, go to this website. It's called 2 Phonetics. And a little joke amongst English speakers is that the word phonetics means how to sound out words correctly, but it starts with the combination of the letters PH, which is another way of saying, making the sound, the F sound, but it's just a joke that phonetics doesn't have the letter F in it. Okay. Thank you, Alice. For a website that focuses on grammar and other English skills, go to the website displayed below. It's called coursera.org. So guys, make sure you are writing down these websites for a chance to go and check them out, because all of these resources, all of these websites that have been provided, they're all free, won't cost you a cent. And if you'd like to learn English in a bit more detail than we're able to provide in the short time we've got together in this class, then these websites are fantastic for some private study. Okay, so we've got 2 Phonetics, we've got Coursera, and this next website is for if you need some help with reading in English, and that one is britishcouncil.org. So again, make sure we're writing that one down, and this website will give you some brilliant tools to help you with your reading skills. Okay, whenever you're ready, Alice, next slide, please. Okay, now we're going to go through and ask all of you some questions about your experience in learning English. So if you'd like to be asked a question, just use the hand up icon in the corner like Luna has. So Luna, you were the first.
Well, which age were you able to read and write English very well?
Oh, I was always a very, very enthusiastic reader as a child. So I actually learned to read quite early. I think I was able to read by about, gosh, it was that far back I can hardly remember. I'm an old man, Luna.
You look like you're in your 30s.
I am in my 30s. Thank you. Good guess. Good guess. I think I was starting to read books confidently by the time I was about somewhere between 4 and 5. My mum always used to get me lots and lots of books when I was a kid, and I was always reading. And speaking, I was speaking not fluently like I do now, but I was speaking confidently, I think, by the time I was about 2.5 to 3. And once I started talking, my parents just could not shut me up. Okay. Thank you very much.
I was able to do all that when I was in kindergarten.
Wow, that's good.
Around your age. 4 to 5, like when you were able to.
Good, good, good. That's good. And these skills that we're learning, like I said, these skills that we mentioned earlier, they will help you learn and understand any language. It really just comes down to how much effort you put into it. So some kids will learn sooner, some kids will learn later. But as the main thing is, as long as you don't give up, you keep trying until you can do it, and then there's nothing that can stop you. Thank you very much. Pardon?
I know a little bit of Chinese.
You know a little bit of Chinese? Wow. Well, I'm actually
Just 2 words.
just 2 words.
Yep.
Are they words that you would be allowed to say in a class with other children?
你好，谢谢。
That is hello and goodbye.
Nah. Hello and thank you.
Thank you. Very good.
Can you ask
I'm
me a
learning.
question?
Ask you a question. Okay, so if we get the numbers here, pick a number between 1 and 9.
5.
All right, Alice, let's see question number 5. What difficulties do you go through when you study English? What parts of English do you find difficult?
None.
None. You find it all easy.
I do hate writing.
You don't like writing. Why not?
Because I like reading better than writing.
So you prefer to read rather than to write. Okay. Well, like I said before, just make sure that you don't give up and you keep practicing that writing skill, because it's going to come in very, very handy one day. You're going to need it a lot one day. Well, thank you very much for your questions and answers, Luna. I believe young Michael was next in line. So, young Michael, how are you faring? How are you faring in Nam's political jail?
It's good. It's good though.
He just escaped.
He just escaped.
Yes, yes. He
Oh,
never
well.
smarter than me.
Nam must not be guarding his jail cell well enough. What question would you like to ask?
I don't know. Alice, can you like have any question that about tips in English, like speaking?
So you'd like to ask a question about a specific part of English?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's hear your question. What would you like to know?
Well, can you ask me question number 9?
Okay. Alice, let's check out question number 9.
Okay, so
how did you manage to learn English?
I say I'm learning English. Isn't that hard, but like, how do I say? What I mean, you can practice English every time. Try to speak every time. You watch everything in English, like YouTube. Find your favorite topics. Yeah. In Vietnamese, and then search it in YouTube. Foreigners will talk about it too, and you must think in your brain like you think it in English, not Vietnamese. And try to learn English in a fun way, like my English class do.
That's it. I actually have a funny story about that. I have a friend who came over to Australia from Italy when she was a little girl. So when she got to Australia, she could only speak Italian, didn't understand a word of English. And I suppose you guys have noticed the difference between how I speak how I speak English as an Australian versus how an American or an English person might sound. We've got different accents, but because the way she learned English was exactly the way that you said it, Michael. She'd watch all of the TV shows that were on, but in Australia we watch mostly all of the American TV shows. So as she was learning to speak English, because she was learning it all from watching these American TV shows, she actually developed an American accent when she speaks English. She's been living in Australia, I think, since she was about 5 or 6. Don't ever think she's been to America, but she speaks English and sounds exactly like an American because that's how she learned watching those American TV shows. So yeah, it just goes to show you that all of these different influences and where and how you learn can have an effect on how you pronounce these words.
It seems like my little brother, because he like watch all the English TV shows and then he like speak like them. And now my parent doesn't spend a time with him when he learns English.
Yeah, yeah, no, that as well can have a big impact on how your pronunciation turns out. So if you've only got one influence, then that is going to be your entire experience of listening to and speaking and learning the language. So if you have lots of different sources that you learn from, you'll actually get kind of like a combination of all of them mixed together, and you'll actually develop your own like your own accent basically when you speak the language.
Yeah, so I am an American speaker. Yes, so you can hear it clearly. Yeah.
I actually still hear an incredibly strong Vietnamese accent when you speak English, but your pronunciation of the words is still very good.
No, I mean like I could be like 6 point IELTS right now. I don't know.
You could be what?
6.0 IELTS.
6.0 IELTS.
Yeah, maybe.
Is that some secret code language you're speaking? I don't know what that is.
IELTS is stand for International English Language Testing System, which is the way that you can travel to other country.
Oh, IELTS. Sorry, Michael. Dorothy corrected me. I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, and try to make friends with foreigners.
Yes, that is a good one. That is a good one. And that is something where once you go to when you go to an English speaking country, that is one of the best tips that that you can do is if you aim to just talk to the locals wherever you go, and not all of them are going to be helpful or nice necessarily, but the main thing is that if you get someone that's not interested in helping or they just want to get away or whatever, just don't let that affect your confidence. Just, oh, well, they were one of the main ones, and try somebody else. Just keep talking to people and get that confidence. That's definitely a very important thing about learning the language.
Yeah, and fun fact though, I learning English the way that, and I also apply it in learning Spanish too.
You're learning Spanish as well.
Yeah.
Very nice. What's your reason for learning Spanish? Anyway, this will be the last question before we move on to the next person, but what's your reason for learning Spanish?
Well, I think like American also speak Spanish, and yeah, it's very
Yep.
well known, but like English, it's very easy too.
Of course. Well, just make sure that when you learn Spanish, make sure that you learn Mexican Spanish, because that is the type of Spanish that they speak in America. And it is different from Spanish from Spain.
Yeah, the Spanish like very different, but the Mexican Spanish, they sound kind of like Vietnamese and English together. Yes.
That is a very interesting take on it. I'm gonna pay attention next time I hear Mexican Spanish. Well, thank you very much for your questions, Michael. Let's
Yeah.
move on to our next person so everyone gets a chance to talk. Alice, who was next in line, please?
Young Minh, you're next.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
Very well, thank you. What questions would you like to ask?
I would like to ask where where did you to manage to learning where did you manage to learning English?
So I was born in Australia, and the national language of Australia is English. So English is my native language. It's the language I was brought up with, just like how Vietnamese is your native language. English is mine.
I usually watching English video.
You like to watch English speaking videos?
I just watching MSA.
MSA, what's that?
MSA is that telling the whole story.
Okay. Well, that's cool. That's cool. What else do you like to watch?
I like to watch STA, like Storytime Animated. That look like
Nice.
MSA.
Ah, so it's like a cartoon.
Is about the story, the whole story, feelings, life, and many, many more.
Ah, very nice. That sounds really interesting. Do you like to watch do you like to watch many other shows that are in English?
Yes, I watched Jesus. Do you know Jesus at the church?
So say that again, your microphone cut out a little bit.
The Jesus, I know I wanted to learn Jesus, the God story from the church.
Oh, the Bible.
Yeah, I watching the video.
Ah, you watch videos that are about stories from the Bible. Wow. Very nice. Very nice. And what's your favorite story that you have heard from the Bible, or that you've read from the Bible?
He died when he died for he died for us.
He did.
The the bad guys to do with his hand because of the pintails. Pintails.
That's right. Well done. Okay, is there any more questions that you'd like to ask me before we move on to our next person?
Yes.
All right. What's your question?
I I just listen. I just listening to music English.
That is a very good way to learn a language, and get familiar with it, is to listen to the music in that language. You're a smart young man. You're a smart young man.
Yeah, and use my memories.
You do. Good on you, buddy. Well, thank you very much for your questions and answers. It's been great to chat with you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Who do we have next, Alice?
Next, Titanic, please.
Okay. RMS Titanic, hello.
You cannot see my face.
I cannot. I can see a picture of a chessboard, but I will let you know if I see any icebergs.
I'm here.
Hello. What questions would you like to ask?
Which is your favorite movie?
My favorite what, sorry?
Movie.
My favorite movie. Ooh, that is a good question. I probably can't talk about it in a class with children, but I like horror movies. I can say that much. I like the scary movies the best.
Oh,
I really like scary movies.
I do not like it. I hate it.
Ah, I didn't like them very much when I was a little boy. I went to a sleepover with a cousin of mine that was a lot older, and they watched a scary movie at that sleepover, and it gave me nightmares for years afterwards. But as I got older, I really started to like them a lot more. So your tastes may change as you grow up, or you might just continue to not like them. We'll find out when you get older, though. What about you, though? What's your... There, go Ezra. You find horror movies interesting. But what's your favorite movie?
Me?
Yep.
I think my favorite movie is kind of science movie.
You like sci-fi movies, like aliens and spaceships and movies about like science experiments and stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
My favorite subject is science too. But I just 9 years old, so I didn't learn science yet.
Well, science can be a very, very, very tough subject, very hard subject. But as you get older, you'll definitely get the chance to learn more about it. And I can say that the more you learn about it, the more interesting it gets. So you've got a lot of excitement to come when you get older.
I have know a little bit about E equals MC2.
E equals mc squared. That is Albert Einstein's theory of relativity.
Yeah, I know.
Very good. Do you have any more questions you'd like to ask before we move on to our next person?
I think I don't.
You don't? Well, thank you very much for your questions and answers that you did have. It's been great to talk to you. Okay, Alice, who do we have next?
We have, wait 1 second. Anh Hoa, you're next.
Anqua, hello, how are you? Hello. Putting his headphones on.
Sorry.
Not a problem. How are you, Anqua?
I'm fine. My name is Ben.
Your name's Ben?
Yeah.
Ah, well, hello, Ben. What questions would you like to ask this evening?
The first one. The first one, please. Teacher, I want to answer the first question. What is it?
Pardon?
I just want to respond. The first question.
Yep, I'm ready. Go ahead.
But I can't see the question.
Ah, okay. So the questions that you're talking about on the slideshow, they're questions that I can ask you. But if you have a question for me, it can be about whatever you'd like it to be.
But I want the question on the board.
Okay, then pick a number from 1 to 9.
4.
4, did you say?
Number 1.
Ah, number 1. Alice, question number 1, please. Why are you learning English? What's your reason for learning?
My reason for learning English is that I learn English for when I grown up, and then I go out and communicate with other peoples in the United States and everybody who know English. Learning English can help me to knowing that we are aware, and like I learn English for my studies because I have a test on IEL and I have more like flyers, reverse, hat. I learn English for me because I want to go to great high school like Harvard, Oxford, and more.
Wow. Those are some big dreams. That's fantastic. That's
And also
great.
Cambridge. Also Cambridge.
And Cambridge. So you want to go to all of them, Harvard, Cambridge, and Oxford.
Yeah.
Mate, you're going to be a million, you're going to be a million, billion, bajillionaire when you grow up. If you go to all of those schools, you're going to be the smartest kid ever.
Oh my gosh. I also I use them for better jobs. Like I learned them when I was outside, and then if I communicate with people, I can get a job too.
Absolutely.
A job in the other world, in another country, could give us more money. We can more money.
That's it. So you'd like to move to America one day?
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrific. America would be a great place to live, I think.
Where do you live?
I live in Australia.
Oh boy. Where were you born?
In Australia.
Wow. Now you're in your homeland, right?
That's it. I have been on holidays to other countries before. I have seen quite a bit of the world, but yeah, I live in Australia.
Oh. So that's my opinion. Why do I learn English? I learn English because of my job, for my future job, and in the future I would use them to go outside and communicate with people. That's my opinion.
That's terrific. Well, I wish you all the best with your studies at Harvard and all the big fancy schools and getting a big terrific job when you get older. I'm sure you're going to do it.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for your questions and answers.
But I need to leave because I am a host, and now I need to train some people. Sorry. Bye.
See you later. Thank you very much.
See you later.
Who do we have next, Alice?
We have Sun next. Where's Sun?
Where are you? Where are you hiding on my screen here? I hear your voice, but I don't see you. Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. What questions would you like to ask me?
Okay, I want to pick number 5.
Can we have question number 5, please, Alice? What do you find difficult when you're learning English?
I think the difficult is writing.
So you struggle with writing in English.
Yes.
Okay, well, that is actually one of the most difficult parts of learning English, because speaking English, it is a bit difficult, but you don't have to worry about spelling so much. Whereas when you're writing in English, we spell a lot of our words really, really funny. And yes, it can be quite tricky, but just again, make sure you don't give up, you keep applying yourself, and you're going to get it. You will get it. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask me?
Yes, so do you see English is difficult?
It is. English is a very difficult language. Well, actually, it depends on, and this is the same for any language in the world, but it depends on which language you speak originally, and how different or the same it is from that language. So for example, I'm learning Russian at the moment, and I find it actually very easy to learn Russian because it is so very different to English. Whereas a language like Polish or Vietnamese, for example, I would find very difficult because they use the same alphabet, but the pronunciation and the grammar rules are just they're so very different. And for me, for some reason, I find things like that confusing. When it's a little bit the same, but a little bit different, I find that confusing. But if it's just completely different, I find it easy. So that makes sense to me.
Okay, so I've been in learning English for a year.
For a year? Wow. How
Yeah.
old are you?
I just learning English from 6 years old. Now I'm 9.
Wow. You're doing very well. You're doing very well with your English.
Yeah, I need to watch. You know, I have to watch English too. My mom and dad said, don't watch Vietnamese.
Yes, well, I agree. To help you with your English, you should watch as much English speaking television as you can. That will help you by listening to conversations like that. You will find it very helpful.
Yeah, you
So-
know, when I go anywhere, my mom and dad said, you must to talk English.
Ah, so they want you to speak English all the time.
Yeah.
Ah, well, the more you do something, the quicker you will the quicker you will learn it well. So if that's the case for you, you should pick up English very,
Yeah.
very quickly.
Yes.
And I actually have a question for you now. What is the reason that you are learning English?
Nothing.
Nothing. It's just another language for you to speak?
Yeah.
Ah, well, as you get older, being able to speak English will give you a lot of opportunities to do many wonderful things. So it's very, very good that you're learning English. And for how long you have been learning English, you're speaking very, very well.
Yeah.
Do you have any more questions for me?
So how been you learning English?
Could you ask that again? Sorry.
How much year do you learning English?
So in Australia, English is our native language. So I've been learning English ever since I was born, which is 33 years ago. So I've been speaking English for 33 years.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
and by the way, just a quick note for the class, seeing as we're talking about watching English television to listen and learn. It's also about the quality of the English that you're listening to. So if you listen to a lot of English that is a lot of slang words and kind of just talking about rubbish, then that is not going to help you as much as watching a television show where they speak more proper English. So that's just something to watch out for. Make sure that any English content you watch, just make sure that they're speaking quality English, and that will help you learn a lot better. Well, thank you very much for your questions and answers, young man. It's been great to talk to you. Alice, who do we have next?
We have Lam next.
Thank you. Lam, hello. Where are you hiding on my screen here? By the way, Alice, just a quick note. I think this the hands that are currently raised will be it for the line, plus any questions that you may have after we've been through everybody. So no more hand putting up after everyone that's on the list now.
Yeah, so like I'm calling everyone who's raising their hands on.
Okay. Lam, hello. You were next in line, but you have gone into hiding somewhere.
If she's not answering, Anna, you can go next.
And plus, I think I've seen a couple of people put their hands down as well. Who's put their hands down that hasn't asked a question yet? Okay. Who's next in line, Alice?
It's Anna.
Anna. Hello, Anna. How are you? Is that you with the avatar of the little bunny rabbit?
Yeah, that's she.
Hello, Anna. How are you? Did you just change your name to Lana? Luna? Hello? Is anybody going to talk to me?
Luna.
Bunny Rabbit Luna, hello, are you there?
entered any contest?
Pardon?
Have you ever entered any contest?
I have entered quite a few contests. I used to be a ballroom dancer and a ballroom dancing teacher. I've entered a lot of dancing contests, won quite a few of them too.
No, I meant any English contests.
Any English contests?
Yep.
When I was in high school, I used to be a part of a debating team, and we used to compete with debating teams from other schools. So yes, I have entered a few. I've entered a few debating competitions.
I entered an English competition and I won a silver medal.
Wow, silver medal! Congratulations. Was that for? So what kind of English contest was that? Was that like a spelling competition? Or did you have?
It's called Iwe.
It's called, well, sorry, what? Forgot how to talk there for a second. Oh yes, the IELTS competitions. Okay, wow. Oh, IOE. IOE.
When I entered when I was in first grade.
How old were you in first grade?
6.
Okay. Same age as first grade in Australia, 6 years old. Okay. Wow, and you won a silver medal. That's fantastic.
And anyway, and when I entered and when I was first grade, most my competitors were 3rd graders, 4th graders, and 5th graders.
Wow, you beat a whole bunch of 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade kids when you were in the first grade. That is awesome. So what did you have to do in this IOE competition?
There's well, you do rearrange words and you just click, and you do type what the words and you choose what they said or hits.
Okay, so it's like a spelling or a writing competition.
Not just spelling and writing. You also click on answers and
okay.
And rearrange sentences.
Wow. Well, that is fantastic that you won that silver medal. I think that's great. How long have you been learning English for now?
Ever since I was in kindergarten, I suppose maybe 4.
Very good. Very good. Well, I have to say, you also speak very, very well.
I don't have to do anything during English class in my school.
You already know what they're teaching, do you?
The teacher lets me read the books that I bring.
Wow, that's cool. You must be good at English if they let you do your own private reading. Well, do you have any more questions you'd like to ask me before we move on to our next person?
Yes, you want those questions on the board.
One of those questions on the board. Okay, pick a number between 1 and 9 and I'll ask you the question.
7.
All right, Alice, what's question number 7, please? What do you think is hard about learning English?
While learning English.
Pardon?
What do you think is hard while learning English?
Ooh. For me personally, I find spelling to be the most tricky part. But 99% of Yeah, 99% of the English words that I know, I can spell perfectly. There's just a few where I get a few little rules mixed up. Sometimes I'll put my E's and I's in the wrong spots and stuff like that. But for the most part, I'm very confident with the language.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Alice, who do we have next?
I think we have Tom next.
Tom, hello.
Hello.
Where are you hiding? You've disappeared on my screen.
Yeah, em. Hi.
That seems to keep happening. Maybe I'm just getting too old to use this technology stuff. People keep disappearing on me. Tom, how are you?
I'm fine, thanking you.
Very well, thank you. What questions would you like to ask?
I think number one.
Number one. Okay, let's see. Question number one. What's the reason that you've learned English?
Why I learn English? Because I can talk to people around the world and visit lots of friends. I can make friends if I speak many language.
Those are some good reasons. Those are some good reasons to learn English. You're going to make lots of friends being able to speak this language. And where would you like to travel to meet these new friends?
I think travel to many places, I guess.
Cool. Well, a really cool thing about English is that even though there aren't many countries where the main language is English, there are a lot of countries where English is a secondary language in the country. So you're going to have lots and lots of travel options and lots of people you'll be able to talk to if you can speak English. So that's very good. That's very good.
Oh, okay, that's the end.
Do you watch much English speaking television?
Yeah,
What sort of television shows do you like to watch in English?
I think a lot.
Do you have a favorite?
No, but I like many few about scary movie.
You like to watch scary movies?
Yeah.
I was scared of them when I was your age. I started to like them when I was about 13, 14.
Yeah.
But that's good. That's good that you like scary movies. Do you have any other questions you'd like to ask me?
I think no.
No worries. Well, thank you very much for your questions and answers. It was great to have a little chat.
Yeah.
Thank you. Alice, who do we have next?
We have Dory next.
All right. Hello, Dory. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. What questions would you like to ask me?
I think I will answer the question on the board first.
Okay, pick a number from 1 to 9.
I choose the question 8.
Question number 8. Can you tell us your favorite part about learning English?
I like to reading because reading make me could talk to other people.
Good. That's a great, that is a great part about learning English, being able to read all of the great English books that have been written. That's great. So you mentioned that so you can communicate with more people as well. Do you have plans to go traveling someday?
I don't have a plan because I already go on a plan.
Wow, you already go on holidays. Where do you travel to?
You know, I have talked to you at the last time about I going to the holidays.
You did, but there are some people in this class that weren't in that class, so maybe they might like to hear your answers as well.
The last time I go to Singapore and then I travel from Singapore to Malaysia.
That's right. And did you get much of a chance to practice your English over there?
Yes.
Terrific. Terrific. What sort of things did you talk to people about while you were on holiday in Singapore and Malaysia?
Sometimes my mom and dad give me money so I could go and buy some things and then I pay for them.
That's pretty cool, getting to talk to all of the different shopkeepers over there. They sell some pretty cool things, don't they?
Yes.
Nice. Tell us what sort of things that you bought while you were on holiday.
I bought a lot of foods and stuff, toys, and then I bought some things for my families because I just go with my mom and dad, so I don't go with my family, so I just buy something for them.
Ah, you brought them back some souvenirs. How thoughtful of you.
Yes.
Do you have any questions you'd like to ask me?
Are you a bilingual?
I can speak small parts. So I'm obviously fluent in English, but I'm mildly conversational in Russian. I am by no means fluent in Russian, but I can speak a little bit of it. I know some very basic Spanish because a lot of the guests that stay with Miss Dorothy, a lot of them are from Colombia. We've had some from Argentina, Chile, and lots of countries that speak Spanish. And so they'll teach me little bits here and there, but only fluent in English.
Do you travel a lot when you are young?
Yes, I used to go on a lot of holidays when I was young. I've been to Poland, I've been to France, Thailand. I've been to Singapore as well. I've been to England, Scotland, Mauritius. I've been to lots of places. Most of them I can't even remember. It was that long ago.
Do you use English a lot when you go to holidays?
Yes. So the good thing about speaking English is that because so many English speakers like to go on holidays all over the world, a lot of people in all of the different countries in the world, they try and learn a bit of English to be able to communicate with us. So I have had the chance to use English in a lot of different countries, but I find that part of the fun of going on holiday to a different country is I try and learn a little bit of the language of that country, and I find that most people are very happy when you try and speak their language as well. So yeah, I speak English mostly, but I try and learn a bit of the other languages as well.
So do you when you go to the holidays, do you go with your friends and family?
So when I was a kid, I used to go on holidays with my mum and my dad. But yeah, when I got older, I mostly went on holidays with my friends.
And do you use all of your money when you are going to holidays and back home?
So when I go on holidays, I try and make a budget and a plan ahead of time. So I will make sure that I've got enough money saved up to, say, pay my rent at the house I live at, any bills that are coming in, and then make sure that I've got enough money for hotels and spending money and plane tickets. And but yeah, normally when I get home, I do have a little bit of money left over just for any emergencies. It's always important to plan for an emergency.
Yes. So that is all my question. Thank you for talking with me.
You're very welcome. Thank you for your questions and answers. That was a lovely little chat.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Okay, who's next, Miss Alice? I see a few more people trying to sneak into line after cutoff time.
Meyer, you're next.
Hello, teacher.
Ezra Maya, hello, how are you?
My age.
You're a little bit quiet. Would you be able to turn your volume up a bit, please?
Okay, can you hear? Hello.
Hello, what would you like to talk about?
I think I have a question about, like, I have heard that you are in a debate team, so I thought it would be you would be opportunity be like doing debate stuff that I before I have been in a debate group as well, but I didn't make the cut. So I guess sometimes pretty nervous or something about that when talking out my ideas and stuff.
Yes, I was part of a debate team when I was in high school quite a few years ago. But if you are interested in debating, Miss Dorothy also runs a debate class on Thursday nights. So if you are on the Zalo app, there is a group for that. So if you get in contact with oh, sorry, I believe you guys know her as Miss Duc. If you get in contact with Miss Duc, she could put you onto the debating class if you're interested in that. But as far as your comment goes about being a bit nervous to put your ideas out there, the best advice I can give you on that is just keep doing it anyway, even if you're nervous, even if you feel that your ideas might be a bit silly or anything like that. Doesn't matter. Just keep putting your ideas out there with debate class, with debates and stuff like that. And you will, in time, you will get more confident because it really is like any other skill. The more you practice, the more confident you will get with it.
So I was like, that's very I think that it would be very nice if, like, you would come in the group to sometimes have a small debate, a small talk with us.
Could have a what? Sorry, you were very quiet when you said that.
A small like debate thing, or like talking with us, like right now. I think so. There's
So you
another question I want to ask you, like, but where do you live anyway?
so at the moment I live in Melbourne in Australia. So that is it's the capital city of Victoria. which is a state that is at the bottom of the right-hand side of Australia.
Is it your house or you are on holiday?
So I actually stay with Miss Duc. I actually live at Miss Duc's house.
Oh,
Yeah, so I pay her rent and I stay in a room upstairs. Yeah.
so what do you feel about Vietnam? Anyways, when you go
Uh,
here, when you stay up here.
to be honest, I don't know very much about Vietnam. I know Miss Duc is lovely. I enjoy this class every Sunday because all the people are so nice. I love eating. I hope I say this right, but I love eating pho.
It's nice.
And I like a good banh mi every now and then as well. But that is pretty much all I know about Vietnam.
Yeah, like sometimes you should try to go out and sightseeing in Vietnam. There's some interesting things to see there. So
Yes,
if you intend
I
to,
have. I have actually heard that from Miss Duc's husband. He tells me that I should definitely go and visit Vietnam for a while. He reckons I would have a great time over there.
yeah, thank you.
So yeah,
So have a great time.
thank you very much for your questions and answers, Ezra. That was a great little chat. But yeah, sorry, just to finish off with you, Ezra, if you are interested in debate, just talk to Miss Duc about it and she can give you the details about the debating class. It's on a Thursday night. Okay, Alice, who do we have next?
I think we have
Okay, looks
Linda left next.
like it. Mina, hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, I'm fine, but I have a chicken pox lately.
Oh, that's not good. Before we get started, I just have one question for you. Are you
Okay.
anywhere as much trouble as your brother?
I don't know because I've never met Michael friends and I don't know how much I'm trouble.
Well, based on his participation in this class, he's a ton of trouble, aren't you? So what would you like to talk about, Mina?
Well, fun fact is sometimes when Michael listens to music, he sings along and that sounds terrible.
Oh, that is brilliant. And I can see the smile on his face.
And the question that I want to ask you is, well, my speaking pretty good, and I am the smallest in every English class that I've got. But the trouble I have is I have trouble with spelling long words, and sometimes people say to me that I should split the word to learn easier, but I don't find it helpful.
Okay. Well, so when they say split the word, how do they tell you to break it down?
In half or something? I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay. So I would say break it down even further. So I'm going to find the chat box and I am going to type in a very big word here. Okay. Okay, so that is So I have picked a very extreme example, but I think it's going to prove my point very well. So the word that I just wrote in that message is read as anti-disestablishmentarianism.
Oh, so
Um,
split the anti, which is a word, and then
correct. Yes.
well,
Yes. So
this-
rather than breaking it down into halves, which I
Yeah.
think would be anti-disestablish and then mentarianism, no, I would actually say anti-dis
this
establish
oh, it's not-
Arianism.
okay. So you
And
split to
yeah,
parts.
and to be honest, I probably might even break up establish, and I might actually do establish
Oh,
like that. And so the more you break the words down into more digestible chunks, then the easier you will find to the easier you will find it to be able to learn to spell those words, because a word like that I think is something like 24 or 25 letters long. But if you break it down into 6 or 7 chunks, then it's only 4 letters at a time that you've got to learn. And then the more you practice that word, the more easier it will become. So yeah, if you're still finding it difficult, we're cutting the words down into 1 or 2 pieces, cut it down into even more.
okay. Well, another question that I have for you is, like, what do, what?
Sorry, as Ezra just typed in a word that was longer than mine and it made me laugh. I'm not laughing at you. Go on.
Okay, my question is, although it's not quite in the topic, but I want to ask you, what is France like? Because I really want to go there and I'm learning French at the moment.
Wow. So France overall is a beautiful country. Absolutely beautiful. Some of the best food, some of the best food in the world. If you are old enough, so if you're 18, then they have some of the very best wine in the world as well, but only if you're over 18, boys and girls. They have some incredible culture to experience. Like they have the Louvre Museum over there. They have some beautiful artworks on display. They have many beautiful tourist attractions like the Arc de Triomphe, the Eiffel Tower, the Champs-Élysées. Just absolutely beautiful country. The 2 things that I would say about it, as well, their countrysides are beautiful. The vineyards are beautiful to go and tour. Just overall a beautiful country. But the 2 things I would say are Paris is very, 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 very expensive. So for example, a hotel room that is not very big at all, like it has room for a bed and a tiny bathroom and 1 place to put your suitcase, and that's it. You're probably looking at almost, depending on where in Paris it is, like $200 a night. Very expensive. And the parts of Paris that are not tourist attractions can be quite dirty. So yeah, like you might walk down the street and you might see somebody just standing against a wall doing a wee or something like that. So, but the countryside of Paris and the countryside of France and the tourist attractions in Paris are some of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in the world. Do you have any more questions or anything else you'd like to ask?
No, thanks.
No worries. It was great to chat, Mina. Thank you very much. Okay. I apologize if I say your name wrong, but it looks like Trung Nghia is next. Whoop.
Do you mean Nhân Nghĩa?
Yes.
Okay, Nhân Nghĩa. Or Trung Nghĩa. The one is raising hand, yeah? Trung Nghĩa. Trung Nghĩa.
There we go. We've got him unmuted. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. What would you like to ask?
Well, have you ever been to Australian outbacks?
I have. I have been. I had a girlfriend. Gosh, this is probably going back about 12 years ago now. She used to live in the city with me, but her parents lived out in the country. So every few weeks we would go out and visit her. We'd go out and visit her parents, and they lived on a big acreage, and it was just lots of big rocks and stones and red earth. And we would take the four-wheel drives out and just go blasting through the huge chunk of land that they lived on. So yes, the outback can be a lot of fun.
Right. And what's the best country that you have ever been to? Like when you're traveling around?
Ooh. I would say for going on a nice relaxing holiday, I would say Koh Samui, which is an island off of Thailand. But for personal interest and the most exciting place to explore, I would say the United States of America.
Oh, yeah. Where's the board that have listed question? Can I answer to that?
Yep. Alice, where did the question board go?
Sorry, just stop sharing it. Here we go.
Okay, pick a number from 1 to 9.
Number 5.
Number 5. What difficulties do you have to what difficulties do you go through when you're studying English?
Well, I think it's mostly grammar. Like I usually just reading or hearing stories, so I'm not very brilliant at grammar, so that's the hardest part. So I usually have to learn a lot about grammar.
Well, talking to you now, I have to say your grammar's actually been very good. Do you mean grammar when it comes to writing?
Usually it's that, like in Vietnamese we study grammar. That's like you have to find the different words and syllables and stuff. And I usually stuck on that, so that's why I never got any full marks on my English exams. It's always 9 or 9.5. I usually stuck on that.
Is that out of 10 though?
Yes.
9.5 on 9 out of 10 is still an exceptionally good grade.
Well, I still forgot that.
But as far as your struggles with grammar go, I would say, again, it's like any skill that you want to look. Ezra. But yeah, learning grammar in English is like any skill. The more you practice it, the better you will get and the more confident you will get with it. But again, I do have to say, speaking with you now, your spoken grammar is very good.
Thanks.
Very welcome. Do you have any more questions you'd like to ask?
No, you can move on.
No worries. Thank you very much for your time. That was a great chat. Okay. Tom. Tom, hey. Hello, how are
Yes.
you?
I'm fine. How about you?
Very well, thank you. What would you like to talk about?
I want to ask you a question.
Ask away.
What are you going to do this summer?
Ooh. So in Australia, summer is around December, January. This year for summer, so Christmas is right in the middle of summer for us. So I'll be celebrating Christmas for one. I might go on a little holiday back to Western Australia to visit my family. And if I'm in Western Australia, I will probably be spending a lot of time at the beach as well, because West Australian summers are very, very hot, very, very sunny, and it's the perfect weather to spend the day at the beach.
Have you ever seen a kangaroo when you in Australia?
Me personally, yes. I actually have I've had a unique experience involving kangaroos. There was a little baby kangaroo called a joey. The same girlfriend I was talking about before, when we used to go and visit her parents in the out in the outback in the country, her mum had to come up to the city for work, and she was taking care of a baby joey, so she let us keep it for the week. So I've actually had the opportunity to take care of a baby joey. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Your pet is a kangaroo?
Only for 1 week, but yes, I have had a pet kangaroo for 1 week.
Did you feel bad when your kangaroo that you're taking care of doing something wrong?
Well, he was very, very young, so he was still at the age where he spent the majority of his time, well, in his what should have been his mother's pouch, but we had a little special bag made that felt like a kangaroo's pouch, and he spent most of his time in there. But sometimes we would let him out of the pouch and we'd let him hop around the house and he'd chase after us. And so we'd make a little game out of it. I'd start running around the house and the kangaroo would be just hopping after me, trying to catch up.
You mean that you're playing tag with the kangaroo?
Yes. Yes, we were playing a game of tag with the kangaroo. And I remember one day when we had the kangaroo in its pouch, we had to go out and we had to catch the train. So we were waiting at the train station, and this man from New Zealand came up to us, and because he saw the bag, the kangaroo, the joey was like kind of rolling around inside of it, and the bag was like going crazy on us. So we opened the bag up and he pops his little kangaroo head out and he's looking around, and the guy looks at it and he goes, "Do you Australians do that very often? Do you take your kangaroos out on the train?" And I said to him, "Mate, most Australians don't even have kangaroos." And then he got to pat it and play with it for a bit. So it was a very fun and interesting week.
When you take the kangaroo on the train, does it doing something annoying?
No. So because the joey was so young, he was in the bag for most of the time, but he'd like to pop his head out of the bag and have a look around and check out his surroundings. And so he was more inquisitive than anything else. He was too busy looking around, wondering what everything was, to cause any mischief, really.
What did kangaroos eat?
Well, so when kangaroos grow up, they tend to eat, I know they definitely eat like leaves and grass and stuff like that. I don't think they eat meat though. So I think kangaroos are just herbivores. But this kangaroo, because it was a baby, we had a special formula mix that we would make milk with, and we would put that milk in a bottle and we'd just bottle feed the kangaroo milk.
You mean, and you only take the kangaroo for 1 week, right?
Yes, we only had the kangaroo for 1 week, and then my girlfriend's mum took it back home when she went back out to the country.
Did you miss the little kangaroo that you were taking care of?
I do. I miss him a lot. But it was definitely the right thing to do to give the kangaroo back, because as he grows up and gets older, he needs to be socialized with other kangaroos so it can then eventually be released back out into the wild. Because if a kangaroo grows up, we were talking about this a few weeks ago in class, but kangaroos, if they feel threatened, they do what's called kangaroo boxing, where they will use their hands to grab hold of something, then they'll use their big powerful legs to just kick it as hard as they can. And if the kangaroo did that to anybody, it could really hurt them. So it was definitely the right thing to do to send the kangaroo back home so it could go into the wild.
Did you sometimes like visit the kangaroo?
No. By the time we went out to visit her parents next, the kangaroo was old enough to be put back out into the wild. So we never saw him again after we took care of him.
Oh.
I know. But at least I got that week to take care of him.
I wish that I can have a kangaroo. But we doesn't have kangaroo in Vietnam.
I know. Kangaroos are native to Australia. What sorts of animals are special to Vietnam?
I think it's goldfish or turtle.
I'm gonna go with a turtle over a blowfish. But that would basically be the same as you having a pet turtle. They're not very common. They're not very common pets over here in Australia, but I think we do have some in our oceans. I think we do have some that like to swim in our oceans, but then they're not too common over here. So that would be like you having a pet turtle. Well, it's been a.
I was heard there's like a very big coral reef in Australia, right?
There is, just off the coast of Queensland. It's called the Great Barrier Reef. Very, very famous.
I heard
last
people
question,
say,
Tom. Last question, so make it count.
the last questions. What do you like the most?
Ooh.
Something? You like something?
Out of everything, I think what I like the most is professional wrestling, like WWE. I love it. I love it. It's my favorite thing.
What's that mean? W.
Do you know like John Cena and The Rock, Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan? Do any of those names sound familiar?
I've never heard that name.
Well, professional wrestling is it's it's kind of it's a form of entertainment where basically you watch people pretend to fight. It's kind of like a soap opera. So you watch the show and there's comedy, there's action, there's very different to sumo. But it's there's like all of the wrestlers like play characters and it's very entertaining. It's a lot of fun to watch. And yes, I honestly could sit here and describe it and talk about it forever. But if you want to know an example of it, just go onto YouTube and type in.
Or I can ask Google.
Here. Yeah, go to Google or YouTube and type in WWE. And that is my favorite thing in the whole wide world.
I have a speaker. It's like Google. The speaker called Google something.
Oh, Alexa? Or is it the Google Home or the Google Nest?
Yeah, Google Home.
Yep. Oh, those things are brilliant.
I usually ask the Google to like play music or turn on the TV.
Yep. Those things are brilliant. There's a funny video on the internet of this grandmother whose grandson got her one of those things and she just tries to talk to it, but she just can't. It's so funny. Anyway, it's been fantastic chatting to you, Tom. Thank you very much for your questions and answers.
And thank you, you too.
You're very welcome. That was a wonderful little chat.
Have a good day.
You too. I will answer your question shortly, Ezra. Okay. Next up, we have Tantrok. Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. How about you?
Very well, thank you. What questions would you like to ask?
Do you know what a platypus eats?
I do know what a platypus is. It is a very strange little animal indeed.
Yeah.
Do you like platypuses?
Well, sort of. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. They are kind of cute, even though they are very strange animals, but they are very cute.
Yeah. So what do platypus eat?
Oh, I don't actually know what a platypus eats. Give me 2 seconds here.
Okay.
Platypus eat. So platypus eat small water animals. So they eat things like insect larvae that may be growing on or near water. They eat freshwater shrimps and they eat crayfish. So basically, a platypus eats bugs and seafood.
Ugh.
I know. Actually, let me ask you a couple of questions. How long have you been learning English for?
Well, I know how to speak English when I was 3.
You knew how to speak English when you were 3.
Yeah.
That is very impressive. And how old are you now?
I'm almost 9 now.
Wow, that's almost 6 years. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And what is the reason that you're learning English?
Well, my mom teach me.
That's cool. That's nice.
I don't need to go to school.
At all, or just to learn English?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool that your mum teaches you English. That's something really nice that you guys do together.
Yeah.
And do you have any other questions that you'd like to ask?
Have you ever heard something about Vietnam?
Have I? I had a friend a few years ago that went on a holiday to Vietnam, and he said he had an absolutely fantastic time. He went, just trying to remember this, he went backpacking through the mountains, I think he said. And he said that the views were beautiful. But yes, other than him telling me about his holiday and the few bits of food that I know about Vietnam, I really don't know very much about it.
Yeah.
And that's something that a lot of people have told me that I need to learn about.
Okay, so that's all my question. Thank you for answer.
Thank you very much for asking. That was a lovely little chat.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, Alice, looks like you're our lucky last. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask?
Yes, I'm really confused about spoken and written language.
Yeah, ask away. What would you like to know?
I'd like to know how can we like know what is written and spoken language?
Like, rephrase that question a bit.
Like how to write, like how to know if it's spoken language or written language.
Well, I'm still not sure I quite understand the question, because the most obvious way to tell the difference is whether you are hearing it or whether you're seeing it. So right now, for example, you and I are engaging in spoken English. So I speak, you'll listen, and then you'll speak back and I'll listen to you. But if you see a message in the chat, for example,
Like I know what that is, but like how can we know when we're writing an essay? Like how can we not mix up these two? Because I usually mix up these while I'm writing.
So I suppose that would kind of come down to the grammar, just making sure that your grammar is correct when you write, because when you speak, spoken grammar is more about making sure you say the words in the correct order to convey the message. Whereas in English, for example, if you were to write about spoken English, you would need to make sure that you included the quotation marks if you were mentioning something that somebody said. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a little bit. But
Mm.
like, I'm really confused about the words that they use in spoken language and written language. Like, how can we know whether to replace it or not?
So written and spoken English are identical. So slang words in spoken English are basically just because somebody is too lazy to say the full word, for example. So if I was to say, for example, I can't go, I could write that in full English and say I cannot go. Or I could also write I can't, I-C-A-N' go. That's not really an example of slang, but it is an example of how written and spoken English can be the same. But normally slang words, you wouldn't write them down if you were writing an essay. Or why is James sitting there flipping his finger off to everybody? That's not very friendly.
Who?
James, you were sitting there flipping the middle finger. That's not polite, buddy. But yeah, so slang words are, slang words, you would never write them in a formal piece of writing like an essay or a letter or anything like that. And I suppose in the same way, you also would be selective with who you would use slang words with. So if I was speaking to my boss at work, for example, I wouldn't walk in and be like, "Hey, g'day, mate, how you going?" Yeah, because that's very slang Australian. It's very Australian slang. But I would talk to him with formal English and give him the respect of speaking to him properly. So I would say, "Hello, how are you today?" sort of thing.
Oh, so that makes sense now. Thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome. Anything else you'd like to ask Alice?
Yeah, that's all.
Beautiful. Before we wrap up, guys, just a very big thank you to Alice for preparing the slides that we used tonight and helping moderate everybody talking in the chat. She's done a fantastic job as always. And we will have, I believe Nam will be back on Friday to run his class, and Alice and okay. So Nam may be back to run his class on Friday, but Alice and I will be here next Sunday as well. So we look forward to talking with you all and discussing some more things in English. Speaking of, what should our topic be?
Oh, I think Mrs. Hai have a question to ask you.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Hai.
Yes, how are you today? How are
Very
you?
well. Very well. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Yeah, nice to meet you again. I'm sorry.
Good to
Yes,
see you again. What would you
yes,
like to ask?
yes. Actually, today I want to ask you some questions that I use the to learn. I mean, I will learn. I have been learning English by listen to a lot of time fun mini story. I also learn 1 minute story about over 1 week, and and I also shout out
and listen, shout out, and answer every questions in this fun mini story. And what do you think? What do you think about my method?
So your method sounds good. So each person will obviously learn things differently than other people. So I would say as long as you are learning at a rate that you are happy with and you feel confident that you're learning and you're happy with your progress, then I would say that it is a good method.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So
Oh.
if you are happy with it, then it is a good method.
Oh, thank you. Actually, I think learn deeply is important. You know, I think learn deeply is important for everyone who want to learn English. And
Absolutely.
yes, and actually, I started to learn English when I was 30 years old. Now I'm almost 31 years old, and actually it's difficult for me to improve my pronunciation because I'm getting old. Yes, I'm not
Yes.
younger. Yes, and
I
yes.
I am the same with some skills that I try and learn now. I find it was much easier to learn new things as a child. But yeah, I'm the same as you. But I'm going to type something into actually Alice, can you bring up that website that you had in the slides about the phonetics?
Oh. Wait a minute. Wait.
So Mrs. Hai, so
Yes.
phonetics is the study of pronunciation, basically. So if you are struggling with your pronunciation of English, yes, go to that website there, and they will provide you with like exercises and helpful tips on how to pronounce your English better. And hopefully they will have some good information for you there.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I saw that, and I'll go to website. Yes, yes, and you know, many people tell me that they learn English by watching TV, comedies, or cartoon. And what do you think about that?
I like that method. So I learn very quickly watching videos or listening to music. So I will very often, when I'm practicing Russian, there was a cartoon that Alice put in the slideshow there called Masha and the Bear. That's actually originally a Russian cartoon. So I will watch that. I'll watch episodes of that in Russian because it's a kids show. And so the language is very simple. So it's easy for me to watch and kind of understand what they're talking about based on the context.
Oh, yes, yes. Thank you.
So
Yes.
yes,
Oh,
yes,
yes.
I very much agree with watching TV shows and listening to music to learn a language. I think it's very, very helpful.
Yes, actually, I like to sing a song, English song, and I also learn many new vocabulary in English song. Yes, and I always try to learn the English song when I feel good, and when when we have free time, I can sing an English song for everybody here to listen to hear.
That would be
Yes.
good sometime. That would be good sometime.
Yes, yeah, maybe so. Yes. Oh, man. And I think what is your time? What is the time is your country now?
It is 17 minutes past midnight.
Oh my God, too late. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry
No.
because
No apologies necessary. I do genuinely enjoy this class on a Sunday night, so I'm more than happy to give more time than just the hour. So no need to apologize. I'm enjoying myself.
Oh yes, thank you for trying to understand me. Thank you for having me to practice English every week. Thank you
You're
so
very
much. And
welcome.
yes, and I think it's time to go to bed for you now. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No apologies. It's all good.
Yes. Thank you so much, and I hope I can see you next week.
No worries. You have a wonderful week.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Goodbye. Yeah.
Good night.
Good
So,
night.
good night.
Yeah.
Alice, shall we announce a topic now, or shall we just come up with one during the week and keep it a surprise for next Sunday?
I think we should ask them what the topic is, and if it's too hard for us to do, we're going to think of another one.
So the ratification of the American states in 1876 might be a little bit advanced for everybody. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, so everybody that's still here, if there is a topic you would like us to discuss next week, please type it in the chat now. I see some of you in the videos are all yawning. I'm sorry if I've kept you awake. Well, technology is a good one. Or have we done that recently?
Yeah.
We did that one recently, but that's still a good topic. Who else has a volcanoes? Anybody?
Volcanoes. Might be into history.
History was another one that was suggested a little while ago, but we haven't done yet. Are you putting your sister in an arm lock, mister? We
Yeah.
discussed USA history recently. We have discussed that.
We have to almost all of the topic.
Yes. Because I remember I suggested a few topics, but they'd all already been talked about previously. Oh, Spartans, a little bit of Roman and Greek history, perhaps. What do you think of that, Alice?
What? Can you repeat the topic again?
So the topic would be the Spartans. So that would be a little bit of Roman and Greek history.
Yeah, I think that would be.
That would be interesting. Okay, so next week's topic, guys, is going to be the Spartans. They were a yes, we're doing your guys' topic, I think. Kwaknan and Trungya, I think we're doing your topic. I saw them celebrating. So just to give you guys a basic overview, the Spartans were perhaps the most fierce army to ever exist in the history of all mankind. So this is going to be an interesting conversation next week, and I look forward to having it with you all. For now, I wish you all good night, and I'll see you all next week. And thanks again to Alice. You've been a wonderful help this evening.
Thanks. Like,
You're very welcome. Good night, everybody.
good night and goodbye.
Good night. Bye bye.